How cool is it to begin your football season by having one of your kick returners take the opening kick, 80 yards, touchdown, you're off to a good start if you're Hobart against Westside last week. They'll need a little of that to come up next week, because our game of the week is going to be against a slightly tougher opponent. The LaPorte Slicers, a team that Hobart has struggled with the last couple of years, but this Hobart team, very impressive in their matchup against Westside this past Friday. And speaking of which, we have their coach, Ryan Turley, joining us here. And Coach, first off, like I mentioned before, 80-yard return on the opening kickoff. I think you'll take that every game, right?
Amen. I mean, that was pretty special, and be able to have that at home. I mean, our game was supposed to be at Westside, and then it got moved in the middle of the week here. And then for Brandon James to start the season off that way was pretty special.
I know you have to be happy with your running game, too. You had two guys get over 70 yards, and I believe Ray had 2 touchdowns, right?
Yes. I mean, both of our running backs did well. Our line had a good day, and over 300 yards total offense. I mean, you can't complain about that.
If there's one thing that concerns you about LaPorte, and I'm sure you've probably saw tape on these guys, you've played in the last few years, but if there's one thing that concerns you about them, what is it?
Well, we know it's going to be a battle in the trenches. I mean, their linemen are tough. I mean, they have a great coaching staff. They're well coached, and it's going to be a heck of a game. Let's
talk about your quarterback. He had a pretty good game against Westside as well.
Yeah, Mickey had a good start to the season. He had a great offseason as well. Went to a quarterback school and such, and he's throwing the ball well, and we're really pleased.
And we thank you for the time, partner.
Thank you.
All righty, let's say we head on out now to LaPorte to get the other side of this great matchup between the Brickies and the Slicers. LaPorte has beaten Hobart the last 2 times the teams have met. They hope to get the hat trick at LaPorte Friday night, and we've got Coach Dave Sharp here to join us to talk about the matchup. Last year you owned the first quarter against Hobart, got off to a good start. I'm sure you wouldn't mind seeing that again this week.
Right. We know that last year was such a freak first quarter with Hobart. They just had some unfortunate turnovers, and we capitalized right away and made it 28-zip right out of the gates. We know their kids. They have a lot of returning starters, a lot of great players. I'm sure they are embarrassed about that first quarter, and they're going to give us everything they have out of the gates.
You mentioned the great players they have coming back. You've seen the tape of them, no doubt about it. What concerns you the most about this matchup?
Brandon James. He'll be. I can't imagine us playing a better offensive threat than what number 7 is going to bring. We're scared of him because he can line up at many different positions, and we know that they're going to try to get him the ball in creative ways. So we have to know where number 7 is at all times. And then we can't forget about 24. Nick Ray's just a bulldog of a running back and a great linebacker too. He's tough to bring down. He's quick for a big kid. And then the quarterback, Wolf he can sling it. He can chuck the deep ball. He can put some zip on the short ones. So we have a very difficult offense to prepare for.
Overall, it's only the second week of the season, but how big is this matchup for your team going forward?
Well, we preach every week's the Super Bowl, and if you don't have that mentality, then you're never going to be any good. So every week is equal. It might sound cliche, but that's how we prepare here. We have much respect for Coach Turley and his great staff. Those guys, they know what they're doing. They've been together for quite a while now, and we know that all 3 phases of the game we're going to have to really bring our A game.
And so now you've heard from both sides of the story. Hobart and LaPorte matchup in a battle of unbeatens Friday night. Joe, Wayne, I'd be interested in hearing what your prediction is going to be on this one.